Back together again. It is Masters weekend. There we go. Got my visor on there.
Looks good.
Thank you, sir. Jeff Dantzler going one-on-one with the great icon Kevin Butler. KB, man, long time no see, buddy. Can't wait to be back with you at the Hilltop Grill. The hair's looking great.
Thank you. Yeah,
What's going on, man? What's happening with you? Catch everybody up.
Yeah, well, you know what? I wish I was watching the Masters right now. It'd be a great opening Thursday round, but that's not happening. I've kind of been going through the Groundhog Day as everybody else, Jeff. I wish I could say there'd be some different activities, but we're in here in Duluth. We're hunkered down. We haven't even seen our newborn granddaughter, Kara, Drew's new daughter and Jackie's new daughter. So that's really been the toughest thing for us as we get older, not being able to play with those grandkids, man. It's killing me.
Well, when I bestowed upon you the nickname with Kara's birth, King Butt the Third, I thought that stuck. And, you got Grandma Cece there. And, at the very least, as awful as this is, I think we all try and look at silver linings. But at least we do have the technology to keep up with people. And, Kevin, I can tell you this. I go by the baseball field at least 3 times every day, and it just breaks my heart every time to not be calling the Georgia baseball games. And I've been by Sanford Stadium several times, and I'm just so hopeful that – and I think it will – that we'll get football cranked up. But, coming at all this, you talk about not taking things for granted. Man, this is an A1 example. And I know when we all get back to doing what we love to do, we're going to savor every second of it for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, can you imagine being a senior this year and having everything come to a screeching halt, especially with a lot on the line? I mean, you're talking, jobs, you're talking future endorsements, you're talking opportunities to take your sport to the next level. So, all of these people, along with the students, and let's don't try to say it's easier on the students. Some students are ready to graduate and go ahead and take a job, already been offered a job. We're ready to go to work, become part of that workforce, and now everything's been put on hold. So I think the only comfort you can really find in it, Jeff, is we're not in it alone. It's not like I'm sitting here wishing you could come out and I'm out doing everything or vice versa. It's a tough situation for everybody. I think Kathy said it the other night. She said it right. She goes, nobody likes change. And this is change of magnitude we've never seen. So that's been the toughest thing, but sun shining. It's beautiful outside. And we're getting more time with the family. I think the world was spinning pretty fast. And if anything, this has slowed down society, and it's given everybody a chance to kind of refocus on what's the most important thing to them. And that's family, friends, and being around the people you love.
And Kevin, with this, if we want to say, if we're fasting in the world of sports, we're going to have some feasts coming up. When the Dogs are over in Tuscaloosa, the U.S. Open is going to be taking place. And, of course, Georgia, Tennessee, we're going to have the Masters that weekend. There'll probably be some cocktails devoured. So, KB, want to talk a little things. Let's start with the Masters. ESPN ran the 86 Masters the other day. That's the greatest in my book. Last year's was really close, especially when you look at the similarities with the class of the field and who won. I go back to 81 when Tom Watson won. All 10 players in the top 10 won at least one major championship. You can go back to Jack's first one in 63 when Sam Snead at age, I think he was, he must have been around 50 then. He made a run at it. And then of course, in 1975 when Nicklaus came back to beat Weiskopf and Miller. Those are some of the classics of all time. What are your 2 favorite ones? I guess for everybody our age, it starts with 86.
Well, it does. 86 was a big year for me. That was coming off a world championship. And, Augusta back in Atlanta, just got married in Hawaii, come home and you watch what that year. I'll never forget that. My second favorite one, is when Tiger just ran away with it. You never saw golf execute it like he executed, the last 3 days. He was right there in, I think 5th or 6th, 7th, 8th place after the first day. And it was something where he just kept kept going, birdies, 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 birdies. And all of a sudden it's a runaway. And, I was really, really looking forward to this year, Jeff, because, my question was, does Tiger own this place? He's playing good golf still. And when he gets there, there's something about, I think you can ask any athlete in any sport, did you have a favorite place to play? Golfers probably adhere to that more than anybody. Football players, you have great places you want to play, but, weather, certainly conditions. My favorite place was Soldier Field because it was home, but it wasn't the easiest place to play. But I knew I had a little advantage over everybody that came in there because mentally I enjoyed it. Mentally, I didn't get intimidated by it. And mentally, when something went wrong, I knew I could bounce back because I knew it wasn't situations that I couldn't control. And I think Tiger has that kind of moxie and that kind of mindset at Augusta. He gets there even when he has a bad hole or he doesn't maybe like how he finished that day. He knows that next day's coming and he knows he can go low on that course at any time because he has that confidence.
Well, Kevin, that's a great segue because I wanted to ask you some of your favorite weather stories. And I think it's appropriate as the weather has been just absolutely pristine and ideal here in Georgia. And just thinking back, you didn't have the benefit, unless you guys were playing at Detroit, of kicking in domes. And we all know what the weather, what the wind can do in Chicago. You and I talked on Foot and Mouth about the famous fog bowl from the playoffs back in 1988. And when you told me the story one time about when the banners or the wind socks, whatever you want to call them, are going opposite directions on top of the two goalposts, that seems almost impossible unless you're in Chicago. So let's talk about a couple of your favorite weather games, whether they were in Soldier Field, Lambeau, or wherever you may have been.
Well, you know what? One that comes to mind, one of my first ones was that Citrus Bowl game down in '84, down in Orlando, because it was just such a perfect week. And it was right before Christmas, and the weather was perfect. And, we had a great time down there. And then you turn around and my next game is at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. And I think that was kind of the one game, Jeff, I'd look back on and said, hey, get ready, Kevin. This is a taste of what's coming in your career. It was brutally cold in Mobile that week. It was 33 and windy and rainy. And, to me, that's the worst. I'd rather it be 20 below and snowing, but you get right above that freezing and it takes over your mind. And I had a good game that week and certainly turned around, got drafted by the Bears, and that weather come to the first playoff game. We play the New York Giants early December. And it was so windy that day. It was 35-mile-an-hour winds, clear blue skies, and just frigid cold, below zero cold. That was the day that Sean Landeta, a great all-pro punter, absolutely missed the ball, dropped it, blew out of the way. He missed it. We scored. The best thing about that day, Jeff, is I always, and nobody ever remembers what Kevin Butler did that day. And I was 0 for 3 that day. Balls would go up in the air and they'd just go right. They'd go left. They were not going where you were trying to kick it because it was out of control that day. And, so that's one thing that game I'll always remember. The Fog Bowl. We played the NFC Championship, I think, in '88 against San Francisco, and it was probably 10 below. It was a late NFC Championship game, the second one. It was awful cold. We went up 3-0, and that was on their sideline. We were called Soldier Field. So a lot of games are dictated on the weather, much like the golf season is going to be. It's going to be a big difference seeing the Masters in November. They're going to have to go off 2 tees the first 2 days because there's just not enough light. The sun goes down earlier, and the colors will be different. We talked about it on Foot and Mouth. You're not going to see those spring colors out there. You're not going to see guys in pinks and greens. You're going to see them in brown and burnt orange and black, the old fall colors. So it'll be different, but it's going to be awesome. And, that weather certainly is the foundation for a lot of my great memories in football.
I can remember, too, you're talking about weather at Soldier Field. You probably know the game I'm talking about. This is well after you were done. This was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. The Bears and 49ers were playing a game, and the wind was, those gusts were going 40, 50 miles an hour, and they tried a field goal, and it almost went out of bounds through the side of the end zone. And I believe there was even a return on the missed field goal there, but when the ball's coming off at somewhere between a 45 and a 90-degree angle, like you said, that there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. And I can remember Tiger, and sometimes the golfing gods don't let you do stuff, back in 2002 when he had won the Masters and U.S. Open, and he was right in the hunt on Saturday at Muirfield, and it was 36 degrees. And the wind was blowing like crazy, obviously in July. And Tiger said he hit a 5-iron as good as he could and only went 120 yards. So I think for any athlete, they'll tell you, and it goes back to what you were saying, you'd rather have snow, you'd rather have cold. That wind, and especially a cold wind, whether you're tennis, baseball, golf, football, you name it, that's the last thing that you want, that cold wind.
Yeah, you know what? I think one of the biggest problems in all athletes have, me included, kickers, when you get in those kind of elements, you're just bound and determined to stay who you are. I'm going to still do the same stuff I do every time. I'm going to swing as hard. Well, you can't. You got to be the best you can be in those conditions, and you have to be able to morph your talents and sometimes draw them back. And that's, sometimes I'm saying when I get out there and I'm thinking, I can hit a 48-yarder. I can hit a 48-yarder with both feet. But when the wind's coming in my face at 25 miles an hour, I'm going over to tell Dick before the game, going south, 38's my distance. Now that takes a little bit of ego. You got to eat a little bit of ego, but you also have to be professional about it, Jeff, and go, all right, I know what my limits are today. Because of the elements, I can be who I am if I stay within this limit. I'm not going to be able to play within this limit today because the elements have narrowed it down. And I think some of these golfers get so frustrated, and you see it on their face, that when they can't hit that 5-iron 240 and they have to hit it 120, they can't comprehend that. And that's the maturity of a process an athlete has to go through. That you got to be comfortable with yourself, and you can be who you are given the elements.
Kevin, you played for Vince Dooley, for Bill Hartman at Georgia, for Mike Ditka 1 year with Buddy Ryan. Is there another coach out there that you played under, that stands out to you as someone who was extra special to you, or do those four guys kind of take the cake?
No, you know what? As funny as it sounds, Jeff, Steve Shankwaller was my high school coach. Tommy Barber was one of my high school coaches. George Carden. Tommy Marshall. I had unbelievable coaches in high school. And, they're the ones that first gave me the opportunity to get out there and learn how to kick with some type of the technique. Steve Shankwaller and coaching staff at Reed Ann back in 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, they would go to Lou Holtz's camp for coaches, much like Kirby does for all his coaches now. Lou did one back when he was at Arkansas, and Arkansas had a tremendous All-American kicker there named Steve Little. And if there's ever a kicker that I emulated in my style, especially back from college when I had a tremendous follow-through and almost a right angle finish, I looked like Steve Little. That's how Steve kicked. Steve was a great athlete coming out of Kansas, quarterback, defensive back, and from Shawnee Mission East or West, one of those, went to Arkansas and was one of those kickers. 67-yarder one Saturday in Arkansas, and they brought me back the 3 steps back and 2 steps over. As crazy as that sounds, I'm like, well, why do you do that? Well, Steve does it. Damn it, do it. Okay. And that was very frustrating because you had to understand why you were doing it. First of all, start in the same place, finish in the same place. That, gives consistency. So those guys gave me the opportunity to get to the next level where I got to be under the tutoring of Bill Hartman, of Coach Dooley, of John Casey, of people that taught you how to be prepared on and off the field and do everything you can do to be prepared on and off the field. So those guys were the start of it. And, old JoJo, he was the first one. He used to whip my butt and get me out of bed and make me go to practice. And those little things, that's the foundation of how to be a champion.
Kevin, just a couple more quick things there. We had a great time last fall at Hilltop Grill when Knox and Mandy Culpepper came. They actually bid to spend time with us, which was great, raising money for the UGA Vet School at the Hawaii Doggo. Our buddy Flynn Nance does such a great job putting on that event. And just, you and Knox, obviously two of my all-time favorite Georgia football heroes. And it also struck me that you guys succeeded two of my all-time Georgia football heroes, and you got their numbers. Rex Robinson, number 5, Frank Ross, number 48, Kevin Butler, number 5, Knox Culpepper, number 48. And the story of how you guys got those numbers and really wanted to take on that challenge there, I think is a great story.
Well, you know what? Numbers are a funny thing. If I was recruited by Georgia today, my request, and it would be a deal breaker, a single digit. I just can't, at least nothing over 19. 98, I loved it on Rodrigo.
I thought it looked funny.
98 on me would remind me more of the marshmallow guy in Ghostbusters coming in at the end. It just makes me feel a little rounder. I don't know. Rod wore it very thin. So, when I got here, I was number 3 in high school. And Jim Broadway had number 3. So that was off. Paul Freight had number 4. They had number 1. And I went, no. That just didn't seem right at the time. 7 wasn't an option. 9 wasn't an option. 8 wasn't an option. There sat number 5. And I was like, I really like number 5. But, man, those are some big shoes to fill. And
the best.
It was the best. I mean, he was my hero, and that's who I emulated myself after when I was wanting to follow him. So, first of all, it was kind of surreal when I did, because you knew the questions that came up. Why number 5? Can you fill Rex's shoes? Why would you do that? I'm like, well, I didn't want number 1, and that was really the basic story. Number 13 wasn't available either. That was my soccer number growing up. So I went with number 5, and it made me work harder, Jeff. It really did. It made me concentrate a little bit more and respect the position I was fighting for. But there was no given that number 5 was going to be on the field. I had Paul Freight, Stan Sharping. I had a lot of guys out there that were competing for the job. So it made me focused a little bit more, I believe. And certainly after that freshman year, it was always an honor to wear Rex's jersey.
All right, Kevin, one final thing. I'm looking into my crystal ball. We're coming into November. Dogs in Tennessee playing on Saturday night in a huge game. Masters 3rd round. Georgia beats Tennessee. We go to the Masters final round. Who will be donning that green jacket in November?
I'm going to say Tiger Woods. I'm going with Tiger until somebody can beat him. I just think that, as we talked about, being comfortable to these golfers, I've gotten to play with a lot of professional golfers. The best round I ever played with any professional golfer was in Palm Springs. And it was in 91. I was playing with Fred Couples.
Wow.
Fred Couples, we're playing at the old course in Mission Hills, and Fred's shoes are untied, tennis shoes. He's talking. We've got a TV on one cart. got coolers on the other. Fred goes out there. 3 of us are playing a scramble against Fred. We come in with a sweet 63 and lose by 2 shots. He never quit talking. It was his home course. And what I'm saying, Jeff, he's comfortable. And when they're comfortable, golf is like breathing and getting on a bicycle to these guys. I think Tiger's comfortable beyond belief at Augusta. I think he lets everything in the past go from him, and all he sees is another opportunity for greatness. And I admire it. And until he can't do it, I'm not going to pick against him.
All right, that sounds great, Kevin. I appreciate
it. Wait, question. Do you think we can do the Bulldog brunch right out there on the back porch at Augusta?
Well, I think we could do it at Hilltop and then get helicoptered over to the veranda at Augusta and do a what do you call between lunch and dinner? Maybe right with the green jacket ceremony. Do a 2 for that day.
That's called cocktail hour.
Now we're talking cocktail hour. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Let me see.
Kevin,
I got something. I'm trying to think of what you gave me. Oh, here it is. You gave me this. This is my desk here. You like that one?
I can't see you.
Can you see this? Oh, it says, avoid the rush. Hate tech early.
Amen. Hey, do you still have that painter's cap that I got you from Super Bowl 20?
I do. Here, let me take you over here. You can get them over here. This is my oh, here. These are my 2 favorite paintings I ever had. You can see up top it's a punter. And then down there it's the I know you can't see, Jeff, but everybody else can see Lucy pulling the ball on Charlie. And then I got all the stuff up here. I got a lot of all memorabilia. We'll have to go through this one day. Maybe we can go through and I can show you all the fun stuff that I keep. Let's Play 2, Ernie Banks signed jersey. Oh my gosh. It's some of the best stuff. So well, I enjoy it, Jeff. We'll have to do it, and maybe you'll be able to see me one day.
That'd be great. And the stuff in the basement's so good, too. And I love the picture of Arnold Palmer and Ben Hogan on the tee at Augusta sharing a cigarette. That's pretty good stuff, too.
Yeah, they're definitely burning one right there. I got a great one right here of Mike Ditka, his one of his greatest catches he ever made, and pretty cool stuff. We'll have to go through it one day.
All right, buddy. Well, hopefully I'll give you an elbow bump there. Put my Masters.
I got a big old elbow. Look at that elbow. That's gross. All right.
That's a handsome elbow right there. I'll tell you.
That's from landing on it when I tackled in the NFL.
That's why you made All Madden all those years.
Damn right. I'll show you that All Madden award downstairs. It's one of my favorite.
He is the great Kevin Butler in vintage form, the new grandpa, Sir Butt III. Congratulations, and thanks for going one-on-one with yours truly, Jeff Dantzler.
You got it, buddy.